Hello everybody, my name is Finn Selma, joined by my co-hosts Bobby Kelly and Will Cart with a 69.5 Clam Chowder Hour, live outside of TD Garden here in Boston. Sponsored by Altoids. Have an Altoid. Today we're going to be talking about NBA sleeper teams. Bobby, let's throw it over to you. What do you think?
I think the Spurs could actually be a sleeper team. I know people are very doubting them, but if Victor Wembanyama falls to his full potential, he could be amazing for the Spurs. And you have Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell. They're really solid players, and they could get into that play-in spot.
All right, Will, we're going to throw it over to you. Sleeper team, go.
Yeah, I don't think enough people are talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. This team didn't really work out last year. You saw kind of the two big men thing didn't work, too slow in defense, but I think the Timberwolves are going to be able to figure it out. They have such a good team. The coaching and the entire staff, for that matter, is a little questionable. But if you have Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert on a team, you're bound to do good things. I think their defense has a huge upside for next year, and offensive potential. You do see some shooters that they brought into the rotation. I think they can make a playoff push finally this year.
Now, in the West, Bobby, who do you think is going to come out winning the West? As there's a lot of action-packed games there, and there's a lot of great players and good teams in the West.
Honestly, I wouldn't doubt out the Los Angeles Lakers. Ooh. I know people might not like them, but with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, that team could be a really big regular season threat. And Gabe Vincent that they added in the offseason, they had a really good free agency, and they could maybe push for that first spot.
Well, Bobby, I don't know why you're talking about the Lakers when we're outside of TD Garden. Yeah. I think the Celtics are your NBA champions this year. All right, Will, who do you think? Will, who do you think coming out of the West has the best chance?
You know, for me in the West, the Nuggets are going to be the obvious pick, but I don't want to talk about them. They're boring. They already won the playoffs. They won the NBA Finals. What about the Warriors, guys? I mean, come on. I know they just lost to the Celtics. I know they just beat the Celtics in the finals a few years back. And I know this team didn't really work out too much last year, but they have so much good young talent. I think this is one of Steph Curry's last years to be a finally great player. And Kevon Looney has shown so much potential and upside throughout all of his playing throughout the years. And I think they've developed some of these great players that they've young drafted, like Jonathan Kuminga, who can be key role pieces in their playoff push.
All right, let's see what the Boston fans have to say. And I know I said Boston fans, but we're going to call on the man with the Kansas City Chiefs jersey on. Let's see what you have.
Do you think the Thunder are going to make the playoffs?
Thunder making the playoffs. Bobby, go.
Definitely. With Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren and a solid young core, that team could definitely slip into like a 4 or 5 spot.
I've got one word for you guys. Young. The team is too young. They don't have enough experience. Chet Holmgren didn't really shine in March Madness, and we haven't seen him in a lot of high-pressure situations. Me, personally, I'm not a big believer in Chet Holmgren, but I just don't think the team has enough chemistry and enough experience. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, we've never seen basically any of these guys in a playoff scenario, even in a play-in picture. And I think with the West, a lot of stacked mid-teams right there, I think they're going to be fighting for even a playoff spot, let alone make the playoffs.
That was more than one word.
We're going to throw it over from the Chiefs to the Red Sox. What do you got?
Hi, Jack Knight, Adam Vinatieri Sports Network. So when you talk about these New York teams, who do you think is going to be better, the Knicks or the Nets this year?
We're outside of TD Garden. I don't know why we're talking about New York sports teams. You're wearing a Red Sox jersey, but we'll still answer it. Bobby, what do you think?
Definitely the Knicks here. The Nets don't have any stars. They're not going to make the playoffs. They got carried by that first half of the season. After the trade deadline, they still stayed solid, but they barely made the playoffs. And the Knicks are definitely going to make 4 or 5 seed.
If I'm going to be honest with you guys, I hate both teams this year. I think the Nets, while they do show a lot of upside potential, again, they're a little too young for me. The Knicks, I think their lack of shooting and defense, along with turnover problems caused by Julius Randle, isn't going to make a great playoff push. I think the Knicks might be able to get an 8 or a 7 seed, and I doubt the Nets are going to make the playoffs, so I'm going to go with the Knicks.
Hey, as a Boston fan, neither of them are making the playoffs. Right up front here, what do you got?
Hey, Sully from Charlestown. I go to every single show that's airing live remote across the country today. I also lost my accent. Random question, who is your favorite NBA broadcaster?
Favorite NBA broadcaster? Let's go to Bobby.
Well, for me, I mean, there's lots of good ones, but like I gotta go. Will, why don't we go?
He doesn't know any broadcasters. Yeah. He's on a radio show and doesn't know any broadcasters.
So for me, I mean, I love a lot of broadcasters, but I think it does get talked a lot. But talk about the post-game show. Greatest post-game show in all of sports. You got TNT, Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley. They're always going at it with each other. I love them, and I think they're the best post-game show in all of sports.
All right, we got another question here. What do you got?
Joe from Gloucester. Who do you think's going to be starting in the Celtics point guard position, Brogdon or White?
Brogdon and White. What do we got, BK?
Well, I think we gotta go with the true point guard, Malcolm Brogdon. Derek White is shown as more of a shooting guard, more of a defensive asset, and Malcolm Brogdon's definitely going to be bringing the ball up for the Celtics this year.
He clearly didn't watch any of the Celtics games because in the playoffs, White was clearly the better player for that position. Will, what do you think?
Yeah, Bobby, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree on that one. Derek White has shown so much potential what he's done with the Boston Celtics. Statistically, he might be the greatest, he has the most positive influence on the Boston Celtics when he's on the court. He's great at distributing the ball, and I know Brogdon may be a better player right now, but Derek White fits more in that point guard position. He shows so much defense without Jaylen Brown not doing too great on defense. White's able to distribute the ball. He's also able to shoot it. We've seen that team can really space the floor, especially with Horford in at center. I think Derek White's going to do a great job this year at the starting point guard position.
We got another question. Same guy. What do you got?
Joe from Gloucester again. How do you think Tingus Pingus is going to start?
We got a bunch of jokers here today. We're going to head to commercial break, sponsored by Altoids. Have an Altoid. I was run by Bobby Kelly and Will Carr. This was the 69.5 Clam Chowder Hour.